Don't you just hate it when you buy a new ignition system and they supply one with different colour wires and plugs? What do? Stay tuned and you'll find out. Don't forget guys, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and don't forget to turn on your notifications. Any questions or comments, leave in the comment section below. So, how do we sort this problem out? How do we actually go from one ignition using one colour and one ignition using another colour? Now luckily on this bike, it's just a switch. It's just an on and off switch. So basically power goes in one way, power comes out another way. Now if we look at the ignition switch on the wiring diagram, which is just there, you'll see one's for battery, one's for ignition and one's for fan. It doesn't do anything else. Now you may get some where it has a two-stage ignition, so you get that, so ignition's on and then again it does something else. So then it would matter where these wires connected up. Now on the diagram, which I don't want to lose, it's going to run away, it says that the red wire is power, so basically that's power straight in. The black or the red and black one is for the ignition and the blue and orange one is for the fan. That'll be the cooling fan. And if we wanted to, what we could do is we can take a circuit tester, and if we get the wire, which is just here, and we plug it into there, we have power. So I know for a fact that's power. There's nothing in that one and there's nothing in that one. Now what you could do if you wanted to, using a multimeter, you could check the continuity of these. Now if I check the continuity of these, which I have done, what you'll find is that once the ignition's switched on, power goes to each and every single one of these points. When it's switched off, there's nothing, it just does nothing, because it is literally just an on and off switch. It's very simple on the VFR800s, very simple indeed. Now the problem that I had was there was a loose connection, which if you look here you'll see that's very loose. That shouldn't be like that, so it's not making a proper connection, and nor is that one. That one not too bad, but could do with being tighter. So what I need to do is I need to get this plug off and basically tighten up those connectors before I take this plug off and put it onto the new ignition switch and make sure that it is working. So what I need to do is I need to get one of these lovely terminal tool removal things, which I've got here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shove it into this. There's a gap, I don't know if you can see, there's a little kind of hollow there. So I'm going to shove that into there, he says, and hopefully if I get this one right and in the right place, push it up first, it should release the clip or the terminal inside. Why does this always work off camera but not on camera? Every time. So if you can see that one there, I'll show you on this one actually. This goes inside there and pushes, there you go. Did you hear that clip? So there you go. Out comes the terminal. And what you can actually do with these is just using a pair of pliers, just crimp the terminals over a little bit more than what they are, so that'll make a nice tight fit when you put it back in and when you connect the wires to it, which I have got to do on these ones, but I don't have the luxury of seeing the clip like I did on that last one. Oh, I think that's just moved. Nope. Do you know what? Every time I've done this off camera, it's worked. The minute I've done it on camera, it's not worked. How buggering is that? That one's out. There we go. Give it a nice wipe, get all the rubbish on there. So it's this bit, a little bit here, that I'm trying to push down so that it will actually slide out of the connector. And then obviously what I can do again is, using a pair of pliers, just crimp that up a bit so it makes a nice tight contact when the male spade terminal fits back in. And that's pretty much it really. It's nothing more and nothing less. And it also gives me a chance to check the wires for discolouring and give them a wipe over to get rid of the corrosion. Are you going to behave yourself? Are you going to come out now? This one's going to be this one's been a bit more difficult. This one's been a bit more difficult. It's like picking a lock. Gotcha. There we go. There's a lot of corrosion on that one, and I think I need to push that tab out a bit as well. So I've pushed the tab in a bit. There we go. Ooh, push the tab back out. There we go. Close up the gap. Close up the gap. Job done. And then all I have to do is put that back in there. So what I can do now is I can actually remove this plug and then plug in the wires for the next one. Now on this terminal, they were actually on the inside. So it's just a case of push in and release. Push in. Oh, maybe not. And release. And then the last one, push in. Always one. And release. There we go. So it's released. So that's the old ignition, which I no longer need. Just going to go there for the moment. And what I can do is I can just plug this straight up to here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much match these wires to these colours here. So for example, black and, so that's the black and red one. I'm going to match that to the black and red one. It should go in that way around. I've got it right, like so. That's in. The blue is going to go to the blue, and that's in. And then I'm going to use the black as my positive, which is going to go, if I put it in the right way around, into that one there. And actually the ignition switched on, because I can hear it clicking away. Like so, and then plug that back on. Get a bit. I think I did it up a bit too tight actually. I can see. I should do it. There we go. All plugged in, and if I switch the ignition on and put that in there, and then I hit this button here, we have a working bike. So basically, as I said, all I did was I got the transponder keys cut and programmed so they match that. So all I need to do now is bolt this onto this, put this back onto place, and then look at swapping. Well, in fact, no, there's no point in me bolting this onto there now, because I'm now in a position where I can actually take this old wiring harness off, put the new wiring harness on, but first I need to work on the actual speedo. So I'm going to leave you here now. I'm going to say arrivederci, goodbye, catch me again later when I'm going to dismantle the clocks and start working on the clocks. Cheerio.